Everybody doing?
Everybody's great, it sounds like. So today's Tuesday, and it's a Steve and Carlos show. I have to point out Carlos. Look at Carlos's dapper jacket. Carlos, got to show that off, man. Very, very nice. Between you and Dan with his red velvet and Rick and his whatever jacket, I got to step it up. That's really cool. So today is Profit Share Day. So congratulations to everybody who received Profit Share. Yahoo! It's amazing with not knowing what day it is, what the date is. It's like, oh my God, it's Profit Share Day. How cool is that? So make sure you check out your accounts today for your Profit Share, guys. Got a busy day today, a lot on the calendar. One thing that I'd like to point out as a highlight is at noon, grab your lunch and sit down with lunch with Matt Levchenko at noon. Many of you, again, see people clapping, know Matt Levchenko from Bold in 2018. We had him here when we were at the Nature Center in Stanford. Matt is an exceptional bull coach, and he's coming to talk about mindset and the concept of building heart share that leads to market share. Heart share that leads to market share. And he's got a great conversation with us planned. So please be there at noon. That would be great. So today we're going to spotlight Mr. Len Schwartz, who just looks so exceptional today. Hello, Len.
Good morning.
So Len, why don't we start off by you telling us about your background and what brought you to real estate, et cetera, and how you built your business.
Oh, wow. You didn't tell me you were going back that far and that deep, huh?
That deep? Oh, yeah.
Well,
us, Len, we want to know.
The day I got out of prison, I had a big, I had spent most of my career in advertising and marketing in corporate America. For most of my adult life, and my dad came down with Alzheimer's and decided I was going to move back east. I quit a really nice cush job at an advertising agency, moved back east, and came to Connecticut, where I had no contacts, no friends, nobody. It was just the most affordable place to live, and spent about a year and a half, 2 years watching after my dad. So I really wanted something, a more flexible career. And that was 2006, 2007. Did my first transaction in 2007, right before the market tanked. And of course had no idea, that the market was going to be so crazy at the time, but it is what it is. That was when I learned in a real down market.
Yeah. And now you've always been with KW, correct?
I've only been with KW, yes. Okay. Interviewed with all the big guys, and just at that time, there were 25 people in the market center, maybe 30 in the market center. And I just had a good feeling about the culture. And so I joined KW.
Yeah, great. Now, we're very appreciative of you sharing your low-tech, high-touch, marketing approach with us, which you did yesterday. So thank you for that. Talk a little bit more about that and your business and how you have built what you have today.
So I've always been very much of a relationship person. My entire career spent in client service in advertising. And I just like being around people, and I like developing relationships. And I like networking and getting to know people and learning from people. And so I decided I wanted to build my business all around relationships. And I will say that early on in my career in real estate, I discovered Brian Buffini, and his model is all about the database, the relationships, and building referrals. So that's the model I followed from early on. Didn't know anyone when I moved to Connecticut. I grew up on Long Island, and all of my relationships were built basically from zero, from nothing.
Yeah, right. From ground zero to where it is today. And you don't make cold calls, you don't make expired calls. You build your business off of your database. And how many people are in your database, Len?
We have just short of 400 now. Short of 400.
Your entire business off of a mere 400 in your database is really exceptional. Really exceptional.
Yeah. And I mean, ultimately our goal is to make that 500, 600 and so forth, but we do that in a very methodical way.
Sure.
And if we add one person per week, we're doing well. If we had one person per week, that's 50 a year. We're pretty happy with that. Two is golden.
Right.
Then you said doing it in a methodical way. What are you looking for in someone to add, or even a different question? What are you not looking for in someone that you say, you know what, I'm not going to put this person in my database?
So it's actually a great question. I'm looking for anyone with whom I have some kind of connection. So that person could be someone you meet at a networking event, a party, through a friend, or maybe in line at the grocery store. Of course, now that's a little harder because you're so far apart. But if you make some kind of connection, then that person is, that's enough to put them into our database as a lower level C. We call it a C, or a B's and A's. A's are the high level. And then we develop that relationship over time. But I will tell you that if you meet someone or you develop a relationship with someone who's, for lack of a better term, just unpleasant, that's someone we don't keep in our database. Because what we find is that people who are unpleasant are friends with people who are unpleasant. And what happens is they just multiply. So, perfect example, you meet someone at an open house and you start to develop a relationship, and you just find out they're really not someone that you would really want to have a relationship with. We cut them loose. We cut them loose because we just feel like they're just going to simply refer you to people just like themselves.
Right.
Yeah.
So being a masterful marketer with what you're doing with your database, how have you pivoted in today's new environment? And what have you been doing with your showings and your open houses? Because I know you've had some great results.
So we have a new normal. We were doing some things like, for instance, FaceTime showings previously. Now that's become more of a regular practice. So right. I guess I could say there are 5 things now that we're doing more consistently or for the first time that we've never done before. So if we start with the broker open house, which we did for the first time just about a month ago with one of our new listings, we did that via Zoom. And we had, I think it was 29 agents log on. I'm sure some of them just because they were interested, but we had 29 agents sit with us for 30 minutes while I walked them through the house. And then some of them asked questions. Now, typically we don't get anywhere near that in Stanford for an open house. So that essentially has become, I think, my new normal. I would much rather do a Zoom open house for 30 minutes than sit in a house for 2 hours and wait for 3 or 4 or 5, or if you're lucky, 10 agents to come through.
Oh, totally.
That's pretty consistent.
Results. You'll have more results, more eyes on that open house. And you also broadcasted it out ahead of time, right?
Yes. The thing about that is you have to send out an email and invite people. You can do it through the MLS, and eventually I think that's going to be very standard. You'll just have a link on your listing for brokers, and they'll be able to go to a broker open house. But for now, we're emailing it out to everybody, all the agents that we have in our database. And for Stanford, we have Stanford and surrounding areas. We probably have about 500.
Right.
So,
and what else are you doing, Len?
So right after that, we did a virtual open house for the public via Facebook Live. So basically, I did the 30-minute version, and then I did the 10-minute version where I went through the same process, but I did it a little quicker, and the narration was slightly different because it was geared toward the ultimate buyer consumer. And that we posted on Facebook Live. And I think that will also become our new normal. Now, I haven't done a Sunday open house yet that way, but I think, the process is pretty much the same.
Right. And what about your showings for your listings?
So those are those 2 things. Now, the other thing that we're doing is for any new listing and any previous listing where we don't have a complete walkthrough, we will do, I'll do a walkthrough of the entire house, every last detail. So we may end up with as much as 10 minutes worth of video footage, which we then place into a Google file. And that footage is for any agent who says they want to show the house. We actually send them that first. So we allow them to share that with their clients. So that you pretty much, we try to cover off everything with my verbal narration on a video, but that's 10 minutes worth, 7 minutes worth, 8 minutes, whatever it is. We then edit that down to 2 or 3 minutes, and that's what we're gonna put on our listing for the general consumer. So, because you don't wanna put 10 minutes worth of video, you wanna have a video of some sort, but you don't wanna put 10 minutes worth of video onto your listing. So we just we narrow it, we cut it down to about 2 minutes and put that on the listing as a video.
Right, that's awesome.
So those are 4 steps. And then the 5th thing, well, we talked about FaceTime showing. So for my clients who are buyers, if I can do FaceTime showings with them before bringing, first we try to narrow it down with video, but not everybody has video. So if we can do FaceTime showings to just 2 or 3 listings, as opposed to going out and seeing 10, we're definitely gonna do that. We're definitely gonna do that. Nowadays, of course, it's easier or better to do that. And we're actually asking the listing agents if they have video of the home that they can share with us.
Oh, great.
Because,
yeah, that's helpful.
We are, yeah. And actually, I think that everybody should be doing that because it saves everyone time, effort, money. If you could share a detailed video of your listing with a potential buyer, you know, and they can make a decision that this is something we really want to see upfront personal, then at that point you invite them to come see the house during the COVID time.
Right, of course.
COVID, yeah.
Now you have, I know in Greenwich you had a fixer-upper with multiple offers. Did you do some video marketing with that, or did that just happen?
So that actually was a perfect example where the video worked out very well because the house is a complete fixer-upper. So I didn't really want dozens of people coming through just to say, hey, this is too much for us. So what we did was, in that instance, we took a lot of close pictures of all of the details of the house, plus the videos. We dropped that into a folder, and any agent who was interested or a call-in who was interested, we sent them the link to watch the videos and see the photos before we even had them down. And actually, that was able to pretty much rule out 50% of the people who wanted to see it.
Wow, that's great.
Or people who were going to finance, because we do have some concern that we may not be able to you may not be able to finance it because the house is really in rough condition.
Right. No, that's all great.
So,
wow. So
the other thing I want to mention is that although I think video is the way to go, not everyone has the resources to edit it down and to do whatever needs to be done. So the other thing that I use is Animoto. I don't know if you're familiar with Animoto, but we take 20, 25 photos and you feed them in. Animoto is a subscription service online. It's about $50 for the year. You feed your photos in and it does a really, really nice job of creating a collage, and you have different choices for different styles that you can use. Add a music background, put in captions for certain photos, and then you decide if you want it to be a 45-second video, a minute, minute and a half, whatever it is. And then you actually create a video out of it and then post that. So you're getting credit online in the search engine for a video, but you didn't actually create and edit down a video. It does a beautiful job. And we've been using that also.
It's user-friendly and only $50 a year. That's amazing.
It's user-friendly, and the low level is about $50 a year, I believe. I mean, if I can do it, pretty much anyone can. It's really quite easy to do, and it just looks beautiful. It really looks quite
That's great. That's great. And we put the name in the chat box so you guys can see that. Check that out because that's a useful tool. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Carlos, anything for Len?
No, I'm just really impressed on how fast you change. I just think that it's really impressive how you do things, and they may seem silly, like put on glasses and stuff like that. And the other day when you were in I think England, you put that something was for sale. I think Big Ben was for sale or something like that. So I've always been very impressed on the fact that you're constantly out there, and I think that persistence. Obviously, those who know me know that I own a printing and a media company. So I always used to tell everyone, persistence is everything. And even if it's not the greatest quality, if you don't put it out there, Jason Abrams always says that perfection is the enemy to productivity or something like that. The point is that I see your posts constantly, and if anything we could learn from that is the fact that just post. You're not going to be a Steven Spielberg when you're recording some of the stuff, but just post it. And I think you catch our attention even with your glasses. You don't even have to say anything sometimes,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. You want to be out there as much as you can, and then not only do we send the videos and the content out to our database, but we keep, of course, a database of hundreds, actually over 1,000 realtors who are out in other parts of the country, and we send almost everything out to them also because we want that name recognition. I want people to feel comfortable calling us when they have a referral.
Yeah,
So
totally.
it's a dual audience, basically.
We do have one question, and they asked you on the broker, on your Zoom broker open house, did you do it on your iPad, cell phone, or Mac, or how did you do that?
So great question. Did it on my iPhone. And I had Shelly, who most of you know, if not all of you know, she was the host back in her home. So I simply dialed in and she was able to control all of the people, so we didn't have everybody asking questions at the same time. We were able to mute everyone until I did my tour. My tour lasted, as I said, 30 minutes, and then we opened it up for questions. And a couple of people said, can you go back to the mechanical room, or can you give me a closer look at the master bathroom, things like that. So I had her controlling it, but it could be done all from your iPhone or your iPad if you want.
And how many guests or how many visitors did you get on the virtual public open house and then on the broker open house?
So the broker open, we knew we had 29 at least for the whole time. I'm not sure for the virtual online. I didn't even check that. That was the Facebook Live. And then that recording sits there for, I don't know how long, for a few days, a week, I'm not exactly sure. But I don't know exactly how many people participated. But the difference is we didn't have that posted ahead of time and didn't invite people to it, which of course you would do, sorry about that, which of course you would do if you were gonna do a Sunday broker open. Did that cut off my mic? If you were going to do a Sunday public open, you would announce it well ahead of time and have the link somewhere, i.e. on Facebook, so that people could join you on Sunday.
Right.
Yeah.
Any questions that we have for Len? I mean, you're a wealth of knowledge here.
So I think what's going to happen, honestly, there's a new normal. And I think what's going to happen is you're going to be able to post your open houses on the MLS, and those links will actually be posted in other places, I think, like Zillow and Realtor.com. I'm not sure that it is right now.
Yeah, it is our new normal, and you're doing an exceptional job. You're way ahead of the curve, Len.
Thank you. Thank you. Actually, one other thing I'll mention is our next step is to do the 360 virtual tour. So I'm looking at like the Ricoh 360 and a Matterport. Matterport's very, very expensive, but Ricoh makes a product that allows you to do the 360 view of each room and then create a video out of that. And so I'm really thinking that's going to be important as a next step.
Cool. Anybody, feel free to unmute yourself if you have a quick question for Len. We're good? Well, thank you, Len. This was amazing, as usual.
Sure.
Appreciate your sharing. And Paul, you got a real quick rate update, real quick? Can't hear you.
I see something on.
It says today's mortgage update purchase.
Yeah, I had a customer yesterday looking to buy a condo, 10% down, first-time home buyer. We were able to get them 3.25%. They're thrilled. They're looking for a end of May, early June close.
Wonderful. That's awesome. All right, if no other questions, we'll move on to Mr. Marty Miller. Adonis, take it away.
All right. So good job, everybody. Thank you for sharing, Len. So Marty's going to give us the opportunities overview today. He's going to spend about 12 minutes going over a lot of what you can do in opportunities today. Don't forget to tune in at 11 o'clock where we have an opportunities and DocuSign class. That's an important one to attend if you haven't taken it yet or lately. All right, Marty, let's go.
Good morning, Keller Williams, and welcome back to the Command 66-Day Challenge 3.0. Today is day 17. Marty Miller here from Houston, Texas, launching the second, or maybe the third portion now of this Command 66-Day Challenge. We've gone over a brief overview and settings. We've gone into contacts, and today we're going to start our series on opportunities. So opportunities is this handshake icon. It is the sixth one down on your left-hand side. And we're going to dive into kind of a brief overview of what opportunities looks like. We're going to talk about stages, phases, and checklists, and then continue on from there. So opportunities is especially important to know because it's basically your sales pipeline. It's also how you get paid as well. So I'm actually in my wife's account because we haven't done much in her account. So that way you guys can see it, especially if you're new, the same way that I see it on my screen. I've actually done some editing of stages and phases in my actual Command account. So we're going to start with kind of a blank account, if you will. When you first log in, you're going to see this opportunity to bring in dot loops from Command. We'll have a separate video on that, so you can just X out of that for right now. When you look at the main home screen of opportunities, you're going to see what we call your opportunity dashboard. And there are three main pipelines right now. That is listings, buyers, and leases. In each pipeline, you can see that there are 5 main phases. What happened is Gary and Josh and the labs team got together, probably 200-300 agents all in a room, and said, I want you to outline the average transaction, what it goes through, the steps and phases and stages and areas and everything that it goes through from very beginning to very end. You can imagine they probably got 200 different answers. And yet most agents in that room could agree that it goes through 5 main phases. And those phases are cultivate. That's basically everything before I get the right to meet with the client. Here is leading up to the meeting, the actual meeting, and just after the meeting. Here's when we go active or just before we go active on the market. Once we have a executed contract, and then once we have closed the transaction. So these are the 5 main phases that you can see through each of the sales pipeline. When we come down to the bottom, you can see a little bit more information. So you have got ratios as far as how many listings, buyers, and leases, and what percentage of your business those make up. You can see kind of a historical trend over here on the right-hand side of your opportunities, and you can look at all of them, or you can filter by listing, buyer, landlord, or tenant opportunities there. And then at the very bottom, you can see what's closing this month. So a quick and easy way to kind of get an idea of what opportunities are closing this month. On the right-hand side of each one of these pipelines, you see the box that says GCI for gross commission income. And you actually have 2 kind of areas here for potential income and probable income. Potential income you can see is the total commission from all listing opportunities. So it's everybody in your pipeline, if they actually listed their house at the price we think they should list it at and sold it, what that commission would be based upon our average commission or stated commission in each one of those deals. Same thing here for buyers and leases. So that would basically mean everybody in my pipeline, if they all close, I have a potential income for blank. Now we know that not everybody in Cultivate makes it to appointment, not everybody in appointment makes it to active, not everybody active goes under contract, and unfortunately not every contract closes. So that's where probable income comes in. And you'll see when we start diving into the stages within each one of these phases, we're going to start getting some percentages. And those percentages reference the chance that this deal is going to lead to a closing. When we start multiplying those percentages by the commission for each one of the deals that we have in our opportunities, Then we start getting to probable income. Always good to rely heavier on probable income versus potential income. That way you kind of brace yourself for potential fallout, etc. So we don't want to make, we see, hey, I've got 5 deals closing over the next 3 months, so I'm going to go buy a new Tesla. And then the first payment comes due and 3 of those deals actually drop out, and I realize, uh-oh, I can't afford that Tesla. So probable income, always better to go off of potential income. That's essentially the pipeline dashboard. If you look at the very top, you also do have the opportunity to look at all opportunities. And this sort of changes your view slightly. This is more of a list view. And so it will show you the name, address, who the opportunity is assigned to, and what type it is. It'll show you the phase, volume, and commission, and then closed, and also if there are any tags. You can also filter all of your opportunities by a variety of filters that you can see here on the right-hand side. So these are all of the different ways that I could filter. So you can imagine, 12 months in, for you newer agents, you're going to have tons of opportunities in your pipeline. Some are in Cultivate, some are appointments, some are active, some are still pending, some have closed. You want to start filtering those opportunities by certain phases, certain stages, certain opportunity types. By tags. If you have a big team, you can actually filter by who owns the opportunity. When did it close? I want to see all of my closings from March, all of my closings that were created in January, February, March. Some definite opportunities here to filter. Okay. Next, we're going to go into one of the phases or stages. So let's just start with listings, Cultivate. When you hover over these, you see how this is the pointer, this is the finger. Anytime I get this finger, it means it's a clickable link. So I can click on that. And when we dive into the Cultivate phase, you can see that there are currently 3 stages. I can scroll left and scroll right. Each one of these is a stage within the Cultivate phase. And you can see we start off by watching a lead. Maybe it's something that's come in. We haven't actually been able to connect with them, but they are in our database. They are a lead that we are working on converting. So just one we're going to watch, right? We've sent them some emails. We've sent them some texts. We're waiting for a response. Here's one, maybe we get a response and yet they're not quite ready to move forward. So we're going to continue nurturing them. Here's one that's hot. They're like, yep, we want to meet with you. We're still working on the date, but we want to meet soon, right? And you can see how you can move. And I'll show you this in a future video. You'll actually create an opportunity and it'll look like a little card, and you can click and drag that opportunity from stage to stage. Now, if for any reason you don't like the names of these stages, you can come in and edit them. If you feel like this percentage is too high or too low with regards to everybody that gets in my watch has an X% chance of closing, you can change that as well underneath edit stages. And finally, you can create checklists, which I'll show you momentarily, for each one of these stages as well. So let's click on the Edit Stages button, and you can see we have the 3 stages that we just talked about. We have checklists inside each one of these stages. Okay, now you can see that these are in here. I have actually created and shared some of these. Okay, so these have been shared with Nicole from my team. Yours may say 0 of 0, so you would have to come in and actually add checklist items. You could name the item, right? Confirm appointment day of. Let's just say I wanted to have that. Okay, and so here is an item. If I wanted to adjust that item, I could click, hold, and move that item up and down, right? So you can reorder the list. And you can have as many checklist items. I don't know if there's a limit. I haven't hit it yet. So you can have several different checklist items in here within your actual stage. You also, if you want to create a new stage, you have the ability to click on Add New Stage. And right, you can put the stage name, what the probability of close is from this stage, and then where do you want it? Do you want it first, second, third, or now fourth? You also have the ability to then start your checklist down here at the bottom. So essentially, it does take a little bit of time to build this out, build it out right. I would definitely time block, an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, depending. It may be something that you work on with your team. If you have a team, maybe with your coach, and work through kind of what you're looking for on all of your checklists, and then really dive into your numbers and start learning what your conversion ratios are. So that is the sales pipeline Cultivate. You can see as you go through each one of these phases. So here's appointment. Appointment has 4 stages. Okay, so you can see that. If you get into active, you can see active has 4 stages. It actually has a 5th stage. This is legacy. This involves doing an import from Dotloop. So you may have some files show up here if you've actually done a Dotloop import. Otherwise, these would be the main ones that you would be working on. You can see under contract, you have escrow, inspections, appraisal, clear to close. And then finally closed, 1 here, and then you have your legacy, right? These are ones that have come over from Dotloop as well. So that's the list view. You can also see board view if you prefer. I'm sorry, that was the board view. If you prefer looking at them in a list where they are rows instead of columns, you can click on list view here, and you can see then it changes kind of what they look like. Instead of being left to right, now they are top to bottom. Really just a personal preference on how you want that to look. All right, so that is a quick overview of the opportunity pipelines. So we have talked about the 3 pipelines in general. We have talked about down here at the bottom, we've got some additional stats for the ratio of our business, our activity, and what's closing. In addition, we have talked about the 5 phases, and then the multiple stages within each phase, the ability to edit those, the ability to create checklists for them, and the ability to add and edit checklist items. So that is a brief and yet hopefully comprehensive overview of the basis of opportunities. Tomorrow, we're going to dive into the ability to actually create an opportunity, and then we're going to move forward from there. In addition, this afternoon, I fly out to Las Vegas, Nevada for the Future Conference, which is super exciting. If you want more information about that, you can check out the KW Connect live stream menu, and we'll be live streaming at that conference Monday, the 9th of December, and Tuesday, the 10th of December. Basically, multiple technology.
So thank you, Marty. That was a great lesson, and tomorrow we'll learn more about creating opportunities. So I hope you have an awesome day today. Go do something special, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye, guys.